Hey, Shalom. First, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kwakadash, Yahweh, who the world English calls God, Yahweh Shai, who the world English calls Jesus. I want to give a double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone who has taught me this truth. I want to give it peace and blessings to the I came across the four corners of the earth who teach this truth and rest a lot to do. So it's going to be a quick video. Lord, when the video's edifying, only I can get something from this video. Quick video through the spirit, man. I'm going to grab a couple of precepts here in Hosea, the 3rd chapter. And whatever precepts come to mind, I'll grab. And again, Lord willing, is edifying to you, Akim, and you sisters that may come across the video. I'll say this too, it's important that we keep videos going. We stay amongst one another, right? We stay in the scriptures, right? We stay trying to improve ourselves, and adding the godly attributes to the new man and, putting off the old man daily, you know what I mean? And understanding that, man, we all we got, I believe I said that in the last video, but, we all we got, man, from, from the heads on down, And it's beautiful because we're all on one accord. And that's how you know this thing is not of man, but it's of the Lord, man. Okay? Which is prophecy. Right? Because what in a lot of rain, we were going to seek, who we are. Okay? And the truth will be exposed to the world and people will be aware of it. Through the warning of the prophets. Because what? We link up scriptures with the times, with the news. We search for prophecy, what's going on. So therefore, we could edify those who's meant to get it. Okay? Because it's all about bidding the elect to the marriage, and getting the blood of our hands. And Lord willing, we be those men that, that the Lord is going to have favor and mercy on, especially in these times to come, because we are in enemy territory, man. Contrary to popular belief, we are in enemy territory. Okay? I don't care. If you think the so-called white man is your friend, I don't care if you think that these heathen got your best interest and they're your friend and all that shit. They're not. They not, and they don't think they don't think well about, our customs, our Lord and Savior. They don't think none about it. They don't care about it. As a matter of fact, they're threatened by it. Okay? The ones that know. Now these peon, everyday heathen, like, hey, they really just, fuck them. The Lord gonna deal with them as well. They show hatred just because it's in them. Scriptures say, that they're confederate against us, man. And the list is our enemies, and they are indeed our enemies, man. Esau all the way down to Moab. Okay, it is what it is. They don't give a fuck about the tribes, man. They don't care. If it's not their benefit, they don't give a fuck, man. They don't. If it's not for their benefit, they're not going to win off of it. They're not going to gain off of it. They don't give a fuck. So Jake got to stop expecting these nations to give a fuck. Especially Israelite women, man, in the world. You go to the so-called white man for you rely on them, on the system and things of that nature. And the system is totally against your man, which is the Israelite man. Okay? And I ain't talking about, because people hear, the black man, bitches that say that, because the black man is the black man. No, I'm talking about all tribes. Yeah, they're against Judah for sure. You know what I mean? But they're against all the tribes, man. So for you to partake and use the system against Israelite men, you are part of the problem. Okay? You are part of the problem, and you sided with the enemy. And a lot of you was disagree, but with your actions, you agree with what the system say. Because if you're doing anything against your man, right, and you get your confidence from the police, you get your confidence from basically like the way of the world, how it works. You get your confidence from the benefits of the system, right? All these things are prompting you to run your mouth and talk back to your man. You know what I'm saying? And you say, oh, I don't care about the system. I don't this, I don't that. You a damn lie, because you care about it when it's time to benefit off of it. You know what I'm saying? So all in all, you are part of the problem. All in all, you are a part of the system. You know what I mean? Here it is, it's scriptural, it's biblical. You know what I'm saying? And it's lawful that your man could get another woman as long as she don't have a man. But you will say no. You will say this, you will say that. You'll get an attitude with that shit. And you'll start tripping. Well, by default, what you're saying that you like the way of the system. Because if we were empowered in what, would you trip? You wouldn't. You would. And if you did trip, you would just have to fucking deal with it. Okay? But now you feel like, well, you ain't got to deal with it because the so-called white man is in your corner. But I'm here to tell you, the joke on you too. This motherfucker done got you to be, he done sponsored Israelite women in propaganda and all this and all that and movies. And, it's the saying, he that controls the images controls minds, music videos, all this shit, right? You didn't allow this motherfucker to feed your mind into being a whore. I ain't gonna even say a whore, a slut. A slut. You didn't, you know what I'm saying? You didn't allow this man to trick your mind, and then you'll uphold the slut image as if it's something to be proud of. And then you look in the latter end, and the latter end of your life is bitter. It's fucked up. It's bitter. You lonely. Coochie all blew out. Nobody want to be with you. Most of the time you'll be having multiple baby fathers. You fucked up. You plagued in the mind. So many spirits on you. So many niggas and being on top of you sweating. All that shit put demons on your stupid ass. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you'll uphold it like you the one doing the stabbing and not getting stabbed. Stop it. Stop it. But yet you're not a part of the system. And a lot of y'all should be ashamed of your fucking self when you sit back and you really think about the things you've done. Because hey, you could lie to us. You can't lie to your motherfucking self. You subconsciously and consciously, you know what you've done. So when you sit back and you sit there and you think and you ponder about it, if you ever do, you know what I'm saying? You sit back like, damn, I did this with this man. Okay, I did this with this man. Okay, and then times that by 5, and then add another 20 to that, and then add another 25 to that. And then the ones you forgot about or the ones you're not counting because you ain't, whatever. You know what I'm saying? When you sit back and think about it, you are the problem. Real talk, man. But nobody wants to talk about that. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to, it's a sensitive subject, and you know what I'm saying? It's just, who are you to tell a woman what she should do with her body and this and that, whoop, blase. But hey, when it's in the fire and you burning, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure you're gonna have a lot to going through your fucking mind before it happens. You know what I'm saying? Just with the said perils to come, which is going to be judgment, for the world and 2/3 of our people. Okay? So Hosea 3:4 says, for the children of Israel shall abide many days without a king, and without a prince, and without a sacrifice, and without an image, and without an ephod, and without a teraphim. It says, afterward shall the children of Israel return and seek the Lord Yahweh their power, and David their king, and shall fear the Lord Yahweh and his goodness in the latter days. And this is what we're upon. Yeah, many days we dwelt without anything. We were ugly as a nation, fucked up, didn't know who we was. This is the worst captivity because we didn't know who we were. That they tried to kill the basics. You got to understand that, man. When you don't know the basics is knowing who you are and knowing where you're from. When you don't have that and you think you're this nation and that nation and this nation, and then you doing that religion, and then you worshiping that God, and then you over there doing this and doing that, you're just in a state of confusion because you don't know who you are, which that was a part of their plan. But now you got Jake so twisted mentally that they don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. But you got to select fewer Jakes that do care, and that is paying attention, and that is changing their ways. You do have women that is changing their ways. That used to be loose. You know what I'm saying? You got men that used to be into all kind of shit. You know, we get on the man a lot. It's okay to get on you women too now. But for those who are actually changing their ways, you know what I'm saying? I say this, man, we were all in the world. We were all in darkness. We were all fucked up, man. In this Babylonian system. The difference is that when we heard this message, you know what I'm saying, we changed our ways. You got a lot of our people that heard this message and waved their hand at it like, whatever. Right? Or it might have sounded good to them for maybe a couple weeks or a couple months or even a couple years. And then eventually, you go back to your old ways. You see? Because ultimately the Lord didn't want you. You know? That's what it is, man. Let me grab this. This is 2nd Esdras 1:36. It says, they have seen no prophets, yet shall they call their sins to remembrance and acknowledge them. I take to witness the grace of the people to come, whose little ones rejoice in gladness. And though they have not seen me with bodily eyes, yet in spirit they believe the thing that I say. Right? So yeah, we haven't seen, but we believe the things that's written. We believe what's to come. We believe in prophecy. Okay? Right? It's a again, you know, Israel is the elect, but it's an elect within an elect. And those elect, you know, those elect members in the 1/3 are going to be in remembrance, are going to seek the Lord, are going to seek the right way instead of doing the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna turn, they're gonna believe. There's a group like that, man. And that's what you have. That's what you see when you see these little sanctuaries set up throughout the earth. Okay? You're witnessing. You're witnessing the little ones that believe. You're witnessing men that believe. Even though we haven't seen anything. We haven't seen, we understand prophecy. You know what I'm saying? Right? But we believe. Okay? It's just a spirit in us to believe in the scriptures, to believe what the Lord said, to believe in his name, to believe in his son's name, to believe in mercy, and to believe in a deliverance, and believe in a destruction that's coming. Okay? It says, and though they have not seen me with bodily eyes, yet in spirit they believe the thing that I say. This is John 20:21. And I'll go down. It says, then said Yahushua to them again, peace be unto you, as my Father has sent me, even so I send you. And when he had said this, he breathed on them and said unto them, receive ye the Holy Ghost. Whosoever sin you remit, they are remitted unto them. And whosoever sins you retain, they are retained. It says, but Thomas, one of the 12, called Didymus, was not with them when Yahushua came. It says, the other disciples therefore said unto him, we have seen the Lord. But he said unto them, except I shall see his hands, the print of his nails, and put my finger into the print of the nails. It's like it says, except I shall see in his hands the print of the nails, and put my finger into the print of the nails, because you know how the Lord was crucified. It says, and thrust my hands into his side, I will not believe. Right? So, Thomas wasn't showing faith. He wasn't showing belief without seeing. Okay? It says, and that's an example, man. Like, we can't be like that. You know what I mean? But you have, our people that are, illuminated in these days to believe in the Lord, even though we haven't seen him. Okay? And that's a gift. Having faith in that is a gift. Okay? These people don't understand the gifts of the Lord, man. That's why they don't believe. Okay? It says, except I shall see in his hands the print of the nails, and put my finger into the print of the nails, and thrust my hand into his side, I will not believe. And after 8 days, again, his disciples were within, and Thomas with them. Then came Yahushua, the doors being shut, and stood in the midst, and said, Peace be unto you. Then saith he to Thomas, Reach hither my finger, and behold my hands, and reach hither my hand, and thrust it into my side, and be not faithless, but believing. It says, And Thomas answered, said unto him, My Lord, and my power. Yahushua said unto him, Thomas, because thou hast seen me, thou hast believed. Blessed are they that have not seen, and yet have believed. Okay? Which requires faith. It requires belief. This is, like this. It's saying that, it's impossible to please the Lord without faith, man. And again, sometimes it's easier said than done. The flesh getting away sometimes, this and that, your mind, but scriptures even say, blessed is the man who conscience has not condemned him. So you got to rebuke thoughts, man. Okay? You got to rebuke when if you feeling faithless, if you wavering in the, you know what I mean? Like, man, it's a fight. It's a fight. Some fights ain't pretty, man. Like, it's a struggle sometimes. You know what I mean? Again, the Lord have mercy on us. But it's, it can be a struggle sometimes, man. But what did the Lord say? He said, "What? Hold what ye have until He come," and that's what we have to do. And Lord willing, I can continue. Lord willing, I can continue. Run that back. It says, Yahushua said unto him, Thomas, because thou hast seen me, thou hast believed. Blessed are they that have not seen, and yet have believed. So, those that have not seen but believed, that's that's the faith. That's the faithful, man. Okay, but you got those who they're not gonna see because it's not meant for them to see. Because somebody got to partake in the said peril. Somebody got to partake in the destruction. Lord willing, me and my household can be delivered out of that. And you bros in your household can be delivered out of, what's to come. Okay? Hey, so with that, man, Lord, videos edifying, lonely, I can got something from this video. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakadash. I want your brothers to keep pushing on to the next. Shalom.